Woo! Welcome back, traders! Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very exciting update for you guys on Nio Stock today, so make sure to stay the full length of the video because we are crack-a-lack-ing, we are cooking with Crisco today. I have a couple different things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, all of it very high level. If you guys find this content valuable, if you guys find me entertaining, slap the subscribe button and let's get to 1K subs. All right. Nio Stock, you're doing something very, very interesting and I haven't really covered it, but you are doing it. And on the macro chart, if you zoom out, you see a picture that not many are probably looking at anymore, but you see this long-term macro downtrend. Well, this long-term macro downtrend, drawn perfectly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 taps back there. And then the pop through the macro downtrend, the test. You are retesting your macro downtrend, guys. I don't know how to explain it to you without being bullish, because this is a naturally occurring test. This happens all the time. And not only is it significantly a historic part in Nio's chart history, if you can solidify this as a bounce higher, I draw this golden downward sloping trend line because you break that, in my opinion, you're off to the races. This has pinned you from the high here, pinned you down how much? 20%. So you're on the way to breaking this. And Nio's had very interesting candle closes the last 2 days. You could see significant strength from the bulls here, opening up pre-market bloody red, just bloody red, and then closing at literally the very top of these candles. I mean, it looks like a glitch, but this is what Nio Stock is doing. Whole-bodied candles after pre-market dumps. So you're still seeing these moves down. You're still seeing this consolidation, but what is happening is the bulls are stepping in as the days progress, and eventually it looks like you're starting to cross this downtrend and hold this old resistance as new support. So that's a very beautiful thing. And just talking in our rounding top theory, this could be the time in which you bounce. Now, going to the weekly time frame, we spoke about the opportunity to do something very similar to your last two runs on this chart. You see long wick hammer candles and or hanging man candles. Now, hanging man candles typically bearish, right? But on this stock, it's almost reverse. It's almost inverse. It's very, very close. And you can see here this hanging man candle, you closed it, ran 56%. Bullish hammer, closed it, ran 42%. I personally am in the belief that since you held this candle on the weekly, our macro bias, since you made this second touch, has always been at some point up here that you're going to come back down and you're going to make that test, ladies and gentlemen, that you are going to make that third test, making 1, 2, 3 tests of this uptrend, potentially making a 3 rising valleys trend line, right? And to potentially make that move up to 955. Now, what's at 955, you may ask? At 955, we have none other than a very, very important indicator. If you guys don't know, the exponential moving indicator, the EMA, factors in the multiple weeks of price into a lagging trend line or a sloping trend line, whether it slopes up or slopes down. This is your 200-day EMA on the weekly time frame. So what it looks like is that this is sloping downwards and has been ever since you took a dump. You took a dive, right? Back from the all-time high here. You had a death cross that was back in October of 2022, and you really have not tested the 200-day EMA since. So this is the most important test on Nio Stock's history since 2022. I just want you guys to kind of understand that, right? The importance of where we're at and the significance of the run that we've made. Stair step higher, stair step higher, stair step higher, closing higher highs and higher lows. Very, very bullish. And so what you've seen now, let's delete some of these lines because it's starting to look a little silly. What you've seen now is this wick, this hard wick candle on lower bullet or bearish volume. What this means is that you now give the bulls the opportunity to step in and to potentially go for a test of 771 next week. A test of 771 in a successful break would hopefully take you guys upwards of 850 to 950, which is where you have the 200-day weekly EMA. And so there's a couple different things that you have up here that I purposefully have put 950 as our price target. You have this crazy wick candle that rejected you like actually it's kind of cracked when you do it, when you see the wick down of 62% in 2 months. Are you kidding me? I mean, just atrocious. Not great. Not great. 4 months. Sorry. 62% in 4 months. You also zoom out and you see the levels that have wicked off of this trend line, how you've broken above it, rejected it, bounced off of it, right? 955 to 945 has been significant in this stock's history. So that's what kind of gives me this level. That along with the volume profiles. If I press the volume profile, I zoom out. You can see here, you have not a lot of volume at all in this area. Actually, if you're talking volume profiles, you might want to move it up to 970. It's very interesting. Is where you start to see this ramp up in volume and a possible rejection here because these volume bars can act as shelves that you're going to hit your head on, right? And that's why your POC at 450 was such a crucial level to break before full sending this thing, because your historic largest volume node is sitting right there at 450, 460 area. So just for you guys to keep in your back pocket while you're trading, this is called the VRVP, the volume range profile. And this kind of gives you the history of a stock all in one indicator. It really does. And so it's super helpful just to peek at every now and then. However, kind of my thesis here, every single time you've gotten these closing wick candles, you've seen these large body momentum drivers for the bulls. So I'll be watching this pretty closely. Could you be in kind of this consolidation territory? Of course, but you're in a situation on Nio where you have to bounce. You have to bounce. You're above the all-time downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. 6 probably taps of this trend. And what's nice is that this trend is valid on both TradingView and Webull. Sometimes they can vary, but the fact that this is valid on both platforms, logarithmic, right? Institutions know where you're at on this stock. This is very important levels that you're trading at, and the fact that you've shown strength is a very, very good sign. Bull or bears have failed to drive you lower. In fact, all they were able to do was fill this gap, and then bull said, "Thank you very much. I'm going to go higher." So some fascinating scenes on Nio Stock, and still our volume kind of thesis remains. Oh, you've made this lower bar in volume, and so now we're waiting. I know the plus and the minus kind of in the way. Let's kind of scroll that over. Now you're waiting for either one more trading or 2 or 3 more trading weeks on lower volume while you consolidate, and then a boom, boom candle, right? Like one of these. You need bulls to ramp up the volume and to step in. One of these, right? And to break this local range. Otherwise, the bears may do it, and that's what you don't want, right? Especially at these levels. This is a good example of when the bears did it. That was your top. And that was your top. Do not want one of those. You need to see the bull step in. And the fact that the bears are running out of powder down here, like this decreasing red volume, very, very good sign for the bulls. Now let's get into the next part, which is the quarterly MACD. And nothing gets me more excited, nothing gets me more convicted on this play than the quarterly MACD, because it's something that I've been talking about for quite some time, but I quite haven't seen it this close on Nio since back in 2020. Now, what happened back in 2020? I think you guys can see this run, right? I mean, this is a 1,000% gainer since you got the cross, 2,917% gainer, and I'm not saying that history is going to repeat itself verbatim. You might not do 1,000%, but history so often does rhyme. And if you see this play occur, so many of y'all are going to make money, and I am going to be a very happy man, regardless if I'm in the stock or not. The fact that we were covering this every step of the journey, to me, is just as important. And not even that you guys are growing not just your minds, but your portfolios. Take that one with you, right? So the monthly time frame still remains the same. 3 white soldiers pattern on increasing candlesticks and increasing volume. Very, very, very bullish. You look at the just consolidation here, down 11%, technically an inside bar. So nothing significant of bearish importance right now. On Nio Stock, 4 hour, nothing's really changed. You still kind of have this like symmetrical triangle look that I don't love. You're holding this micro uptrend, and you did just break the down sloping resistance. So that is good news. That is a good sign. You're like barely moving a tidbit while on top of this uptrend. So it's good that you regained it. And now you just need to see continuation to invalidate this death cross on the 4 hour chart. Now, in case you guys did not partake in our AMC GameStop video, that is okay. I'm going to cover it just because I love you guys. IWM on the daily time frame, we had talked about on the 4 hour chart being significantly bullish because of this falling broadening wedge. Now, I say that because you had a falling broadening wedge breakout, in which we took the profit target here, stuck it on top of the breakout, pretty much perfectly timed the top here at 252.77, and then we called a retest of the falling broadening wedge. Now, we gave the option that you could fall down, and if you fall down and you don't bounce Friday morning, that you could potentially see a test of the 4 hour 200-day EMA, and then find your breakout. And by golly, that's exactly what you've done here. You have a curling of the 4 hour MACD. That's a good sign for bullish momentum. And then you have a pretty wicked double bounce off the 4 hour EMA. So the fact that you're outside of this falling broadening wedge, you've tested the 200, and now you're curling up on the MACD. Those are all really, really positive signs on the short term. So if you see a breakout and another all-time high on IWM, I have no other conviction that Nio, AMC, GameStop are going to have amazing, freaking great weeks next week. So that is your coverage on Nio stock. I hope you guys have an absolute blessed weekend. Thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you for the 800 subscribers. Let's continue this awesome momentum. I will be here every single day, twice a day. God bless to each and every single one of you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Psych! Fear and Greed Index. Fear is at 27. Crypto fear, extreme fear. Buy the fear, not financial advice. See you guys. Woo!